I have been flying the DJI Avata 360 every day for a week now, and I think I finally understand what this drone actually is. Not what DJI says it is, not what the launch videos show. What it actually is in the field, in your hands, on a real shooting day. The honest answer is more interesting than I expected and more complicated. Because the Avata 360 is genuinely unlike anything I have flown before in ways that are sometimes brilliant, sometimes frustrating, and occasionally both at the same time. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what this drone does well, what it does not, what nobody is warning you about before you buy, and why I think this is the beginning of a whole new category of drone, not just another DJI product. Let us get into it. Before anything else, let me set one thing straight because the internet is confused about this. The Avata 360 is not the Avata 3. It is not a replacement for the Avata 2. It is not a replacement for the Mini 5 Pro. It is not trying to be any of those things. It is something genuinely new. Think of it this way, the Avata 2 is a dedicated FPV drone. Every decision DJI made on that drone, the weight, the camera, the manual mode, serves one purpose. Fast, immersive, deliberate FPV flight. The Avata 360 is a 360 capture platform that also flies like an FPV drone. That sounds similar. It is fundamentally different. Two fisheye lenses, one pointing up and forward, one pointing down and backward, capturing the full sphere around the drone simultaneously while you fly. No composition decisions in the air. Alright, no framing stress, just fly. Decide the shot later. 455 grams, 4 propellers with integrated guards, dual 1/1.1 inch CMOS sensors, 8K 60 frames per second HDR, D-Log M 10-bit, 04, plus transmission up to 20 kilometers, omnidirectional obstacle sensing with nightscape capability, LiDAR at the front, 42 gigabytes internal storage plus micro SD, 23 minutes rated flight time. That is what you're getting on paper. Now let me tell you what it is like to actually live with. I have flown the Avata 360 with both the RC2 controller and the Goggles 3 with the Motion 3 controller. They are genuinely different experiences and worth treating separately. RC2 mode, this is the one that surprised me the most in a good way. Plug in the RC2, a controller you may already own if you have another DJI drone, and the Avata 360 behaves like a completely normal DJI drone. You see the 360 spherical preview on the RC2 screen. You can tap to track subjects. You access all the intelligent flight modes. You fly it the way you fly a Mini or an Air series. For getting clean, 360 tracking shots, establishing shots, anything where you want precise, controlled movement. The RC2 is my preferred method. The screen gives you situational awareness that goggles cannot. You see where you are flying at all times. One thing to know, in single lens mode with the RC2, the experience is not great. It switches to an FPV style input response, which feels erratic with a standard controller. My advice, use RC2 in 360 mode exclusively. That is where it shines. Goggles 3 with Motion 3, completely different experience. Put the goggles on and you are immersed. The drone flies in one direction, your head looks wherever it wants. The 360 system shows you the full sphere around the drone in real time as you look around. One thing you need to know immediately is head tracking is not on by default. When you first put the goggles on, you will have a fixed view like any standard FPV drone. Swipe down on either goggle to access the menu and turn on head tracking. Once that is on, everything changes. You look left, right, up, completely backwards, and the view moves with you. Do not skip this step, or you will miss the whole point. Single lens mode with the Motion 3 and goggles is where the FPV experience actually lives. This is the closest the Avata 360 gets to flying the Avata 2 in feel, It is fast, responsive, fun. If you want pure FPV enjoyment, switch to single lens and use the motion controller. Out of everything on this drone, the intelligent flight modes, the 360 editing flexibility, the immersive goggles experience, there is one feature I keep reaching for every single flight: tracking. And specifically, tracking with the Avata 360 changes what is possible compared to any FPV drone I have used. Here is the problem with tracking on traditional FPV drones. You are trying to fly the drone, maintain your subject in a specific part of the frame, manage your speed and distance, and get smooth footage all simultaneously. It takes real skill. Even experienced pilots miss shots. The Avata 360 removes that problem at the root. In ActiveTrack 360 mode, you select your subject, tap to lock on, and fly freely. The 360 system captures the full sphere. Whatever you frame on your controller screen or in your goggles is what gets recorded as the tracking shot. The drone does not have to physically yaw to keep the subject in frame. The virtual camera inside the sphere follows them. The secondary tracking window is the practical genius here. When tracking with goggles, a small window appears in the corner showing exactly what is locked on, so you can fly freely in any direction while always knowing your subject is captured. You are not flying blind, and here is what really impressed me: you do not have to do any 360 editing to use this feature. Lock onto your subject, fly, land. Export using the shooting perspective option in DJI Fly, and you have a flat tracked video ready to use. No keyframing, no reframing, no 360 editing software required. That single workflow unlocks the Avata 360 for a completely different type of creator. You do not need to be a 360 editing expert. You just need to fly and track. I am doing a dedicated video on tracking specifically, and every mode, every setting, real world results. That is coming to this channel soon. Let me give you the honest version that the launch coverage tends to skip. Battery life is the biggest practical limitation. DJI rates it at 23 minutes in real active flying, around 15 to 17 minutes in normal mode. In sport mode or windy condition, closer to 10 to 12 minutes, that is the real number. One battery is not enough. This is the most important thing I can tell you before you buy. If you are considering the drone only option at $479, I understand the appeal, especially if you already own compatible controllers, but buy extra batteries immediately, 2 additional batteries minimum. The experience with a single battery on a real shooting day is genuinely frustrating. You are just getting warmed up when the warning hits. If budget allows, the Fly More combo makes more sense than adding batteries separately. 3 batteries total, the charging hub, the bag. Run the numbers before you decide. The 42GB internal storage fills up fast. 8K 360 footage has large files. 42GB records approximately 30 minutes of 8K 360 video. On a full shooting day with multiple batteries, you will fill that. Sorry, a fast micro SD card is not optional. I buy one when you buy the drone. Sharpness is too high by default. This sounds minor, it is not. The footage out of the box looks over-sharpened, artificial, and processed. Go into your controller or goggle settings and reduce sharpness to -2 immediately. Do this before your first real flight. Every DJI camera benefits from this, but on the Avata 360, it is especially noticeable. The footage immediately looks more natural and cinematic. Head tracking in goggles is not on by default. Already covered this, but it is important enough to repeat. The immersive 360 goggles experience requires you to manually enable head tracking in the settings. Swipe down on either goggle to access it, turn it on. Now, it works the way you expected it to. RC Pro 2 is not compatible at launch. If you own the RC Pro 2, it does not work with the Avata 360 currently, despite the drone using 04 Plus transmission. This is expected to change with firmware, but right now, check compatibility with the controllers you own before assuming everything works. Let me be direct about where the Avata 360 sits on image quality. The 8K 60 frames per second HDR footage in 360 mode is genuinely impressive for what it is. When you reframe into a standard 4K output, sharp, clean, color accurate, especially in D-Log-M, the 1-inch equivalent sensor delivers in daylight conditions. Dynamic range is good. Color matching with other DJI cameras in the same color profile is seamless, which matters if you are mixing Avata 360 footage with Osmo 360, Mini 5 Pro, or anything else in the DJI family. But the Avata 360 is not competing with the Mavic 4 Pro or the Air 3S on image quality. It is not trying to. The reframed output from a 360 sphere is inherently different from a dedicated single lens at equivalent resolution. That is physics. You are cropping from a larger capture, not shooting directly at full quality. In low light, limitations show. The fisheye lenses and smaller effective aperture after stitching mean nighttime footage requires careful exposure management. Indoor shooting in low light is workable, but not where this drone performs best. The 120 megapixel 360 photos deserve more attention than they get. One shot captures the full sphere. In post, you reframe into any composition you want, horizontal, vertical, any aspect ratio, all from a single shutter press. For architectural photography, landscapes, events, that flexibility has real professional value. Here's the way I have come to think about the Avata 360 after a week of flying it. This is not a drone product. It is the first product in a drone category. Just like the original Avata created the consumer FPV category, and the Neo created the sub 250 gram palm launch category, the Avata 360 is creating the 360 aerial capture category, and DJI is not the first one there. Insta360 got there first with the anti-gravity A1, but DJI is bringing their full ecosystem weight to it. Transmission, obstacle avoidance, ActiveTrack, D-Log-M, RC2 compatibility, and that changes the scale of the conversation. The 360 niche is not a temporary trend. The combination of unlimited reframing, single flight multiple angles, effortless tracking, and the immersive goggles experience, these are creative capabilities that no standard drone offers. Once creators understand what is possible, they will not go back to thinking about it the same way. There is much more to come in this category. Better sensors, more efficient processing, longer battery life, firmware features that do not exist yet. The Avata 360 is version 1, and version 1 is already genuinely impressive. So, who should and should not buy this? Let me make this as practical as possible. The Avata 360 is right for you if you create for multiple platforms and want one flight to produce horizontal, vertical, and multiple angle versions. You enjoy post-production and find creative editing rewarding rather than burdensome. You want the most effortless tracking available on any consumer drone. You already own RC2, Goggles N3, or Goggles 3. The drone only at $479 is exceptional value in that case. You want the immersive 360 FPV goggles experience and are prepared to buy at least 3 batteries. The Avata 360 is not right for you if you want full manual acro mode. It is not there at launch. You need sub 250 gram for regulatory reasons. At 455 grams, this is clearly a different class. You want footage ready to use with no editing. The 360 workflow requires post-production engagement. 1 battery is your budget. The experience will frustrate you. You are replacing your Avata 2. These drones serve different purposes, and the Avata 2 remains the better, pure FPV tool. After 1 week, Here is my honest summary. The Avata 360 is the most creative drone I have ever flown. It is also the most demanding drone I have ever flown in terms of what it asks of your post-production workflow. The tracking is genuinely brilliant, and I think it is underrated in the launch coverage. The immersive goggles experience is something that has to be felt to be understood. The RC2 compatibility opens this drone to people who would never touch FPV equipment, and the footage, reframed properly, graded in D-Log aim, looks genuinely professional. The battery limitation is real. The 42GB storage fills fast. Head tracking needs to be enabled manually. The single lens mode works better with the motion controller than the RC2. Know all of that going in, and you will love this drone. Coming soon to this channel, dedicated videos on the best settings for the Avata 360, best accessories, tracking deep dive, our firmware updates as they drop, and the comparison with the anti-gravity A1 that nobody else is making, honestly. Subscribe and hit the bell. There's a lot of Avata 360 content coming, and this channel is covering all of it without a sponsored filter. Drop in the comments if you already have the Avata 360, what has surprised you most in the first week? And if you are still deciding, what question do I still have not answered? Tell me below. Something new has arrived, and we are just getting started.